I got up and whispered in his ear to say, look, you've shown that you belong at this level. You'll get another shot because the fight is close. The fight was close. And Billy Joe was growing into the fight, got caught with a shot. I said, but we're going to have to pull it. That's why he shook his head to say, no, like, I'm going back out. I think he even said, you have to check with him, but I think he even said something orthodox or something like that to say, I can go orthodox or something along those lines. But he was shaking his head because I was saying to him, look, you've shown you belong at this level. You'll get another shot because the fight is close. It's an injury, but it's got to be pulled, and that's why he shook his head.
We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Wow, the propaganda continues. After Billy Joe Saunders quits against Canelo, get the f out of here, it's my night. Now all of a sudden, the post-fight commentary from Billy Joe Saunders' very own trainer Tibbs has mysteriously vanished across YouTube. We're gonna talk about that in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. If you love what I'm doing on the channel, make sure you guys smash the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon for post notifications so you don't miss anything, don't miss a beat, and we continue to get it cracking on the channel. Now, I had to make this video. We got a lot to talk about, and it's very funny. Like, I give you guys on this channel, I give you my purest, truest thoughts. I'm fair with everybody. You know, I give constructive criticism if need be. I also give credit. You know, it's not just a negative, you know, when a fighter does something wrong, or trainer or whatever does something wrong, I give you my truths, you know, right or wrong, I'm human, that kind of thing. Yet and still, you know, you have ops, the naysayers, the detractors. They'll say, oh, Boxingego, he's biased, right? Because they don't like what's being said. Oftentimes, you can dislike, but you can't disprove, as I always say. So people will tell you that I'm biased and this and that. Now, one thing that I don't do is, when I am wrong or to protect anything, go and delete content. And that's exactly what we're experiencing right now. So it doesn't happen on my channel. I don't delete videos if I have a prediction. Like when I told you guys I thought Guillermo El Chacao Rigandao would beat Lomachenko, I was wrong. Lomachenko beat him, and I called it fair. I didn't delete anything. I didn't, you know, I just ate it and took it as a man. My prediction was wrong. And the ones I get right, same thing, you know. The content is the content. I said it at the time, I meant it, you know, this are my thoughts. But now, Canelo Alvarez fought Billy Joe Saunders, and it's looking real bad for old media. Canelo Joe Saunders fight, you know, Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo happened. There was a lot of like drama leading up to the fight. There was Billy Joe Saunders, who was, you know, weeks before the fight even, saying that he didn't believe he was going to get a fair shake, and you know, the judges would be against him, or they were supposed to have an English judge, and all of a sudden that was removed. Now, if you listen to my work, I said, why is Billy Joe Saunders sound so panicky, like he now realizes he's in a fight with a great fighter like Canelo? I was born ready, right? And I also told you, I don't even know and think that it'll go to the judges. So what if he's putting all this emphasis on the judges, and as predicted, the judges didn't even come into play because he quit on the stool? So before the fight, he was saying, oh, we don't have a British judge. You could have had a British judge. You could have had Elton John. You could have had Sir Anthony Hopkins. You could have had the Queen of England. You could have had Prince Charles or Harry. None of that would have mattered, because in the Canelo Saunders fight, The judges, it didn't even come down to a judge's decision. So the judge was irrelevant in this situation. So I am of the belief that Billy Joe Saunders quit. He basically sustained an injury, which does happen, but we've seen a lot of fighters continue with horrendous injuries, eye injuries, hematomas, concussions, broken jaws, broken or fractured hands, torn biceps, dislocated shoulder. Actually, there's a video on the internet, you could probably find it. There's a black dude, I'm not sure his name off the top of the head while making this video, which is a freestyle. And the black dude, so he did something to his arm, like he dislocated his shoulder, so he was fighting with one arm. Somehow, some way, the guy still got a knockout. You know, he was just swinging and swinging crazy with the one hand. We've also seen David Haye, and David Haye, his Achilles tendon had clearly collapsed in the first Tony Bellew fight, and he survived being able to put zero pressure on his leg or the weight of his body on that foot without barely being able to stand and collapse. And he showed tremendous heart. Billy Joe Saunders himself did all of that trash talking, complained about the judges. Fight week complained that the ring was too small, and then they made it a little bit larger. And he said that wasn't good enough, a little bit larger. Then they finally, Canelo said, just give him what he wants within reason. Make it a 22-foot ring. Let's not ruin or cancel this event. So after all that, Billy Joe Saunders quit, right? So naturally, Billy Joe is getting a lot of shtick. Now, here's where the plot twist comes in. Immediately after the fight, you have Billy Joe Saunders corner his lead head trainer, right? And his head trainer had explained to the public what happened. And I believe he was being true. And it was Mark Tibbs, who also worked with Dillian White before. Mark Tibbs said that Saunders did not respond in the way that he preferred, so he had no choice but to pull the plug. The doctors was okay with letting the fight continue, but it was Saunders who didn't have he even says it. You know what? He says the body language. The body language was not there. He also says, oh, yo, I don't even really want to talk about it too much because it just happened. When do you hear a fighter say that they don't want to talk about an obvious that we all just watched? They have cameras in the corner, etc. You know what? I'm going to play the audio for you guys so you can hear it out the horse's mouth from Billy Joe Saunders' trainer, Mark Tibbs.
What happened in the corner? All I know is 1 minute he's in the corner and the next is being called. Can you just sort of give me a bit of...
Yeah, well, listen, we think he's got his eye socket was caved in and he couldn't see. So I didn't get the response I wanted from him. So, you know, it's tough business, this business. And, you know, it was frustrating really because I felt that he was growing into it. But, yeah, so I had to pull it, yeah.
You say he couldn't see. He told you he couldn't see?
Body language. Listen, I don't want to talk about what went on in the corner just yet because Billy's getting checked out, and you know. But no, it was he got a damaged eye socket, so it was damaged, and you know, weren't getting the response that you know that I need from to send the guy out. But you know.
What was his response when he realized the fight would be stopped or that you would call it?
No, he was sick. He was gutted. He was disappointed. He was gutted, but he never argued with me. So.
Billy said to you when he came back to the corner about his eye, did he say he couldn't see, or what did he say to you?
He couldn't see. He couldn't see.
So you guys just heard from Saunders' own trainer, out his own mouth, the signs and indications that your fighter did not want to continue were apparent. The body language was not there. The demoralized and disenchanted, disengaged facial expressions or whatever. So the trainer decided to pull him out, which is what you do. You have to protect yourself at all times. If at any point you're unable to protect your own self or think clearly because you're concussed or whatever, or hurt for yourself, then your team, doctors, ringside physicians, refs, they got to make that call for you. That's what happened. So basically, like I told you, Billy Joe Saunders quit. You know, the going got tough and he got going. He didn't say, yo, I really don't want this stopped. Give me another round. and we'll see what happens. Because to do that, you knew you had a bloodthirsty Canelo who knew you were hurt and knew he had got to you and knew you were bothered, and you didn't feel confident in your ability to survive another round without being brutally knocked out. And the bad side about that, it's multi-layered. For Billy Joe Saunders of all people, you can't go out like that based on how much ish you talked, how much havoc you had caused and wreaked during fight week and leading up. Oh, I need judges and I need this and they're not going to give me a fair fight and I need a bigger ring. You can't go out like that, sir. You know, so the world of boxing, most of them are being real, and it's karma. It's a case of karma, and it's coming back on Billy Joe Saunders. You just heard his own trainer. Guess what? Now, as you guys see in the title of this video, there were about 3 or 4 interviews with Billy Joe Saunders' trainer post-fight. They have all been wiped, removed off of YouTube, either archived and privated so nobody can access them anymore, or they have been deleted. So once again, boxing fans say, oh, Ego, you're biased because I give you my opinions, like Billy Joe Saunders quit. They say, oh, you're just against the UK fighter, you're biased, and you know, this, that, and the third. I don't sweat it because I know that's not the case. I know I give everybody a fair shake. So what does old media have to say now that you see there are multitudes of channels that have now, for some odd reason, had to delete or remove the video and wipe it off of the internet? As if we didn't all watch the post-fight content. Some people have recorded it, which you could find on boxing Twitter, right? And they've recorded it. So Mark Tibbs' thoughts remain. We all heard what he had to say post-fight. The video's got viewership. You can't just erase it. This is not a Men in Black movie where Will Smith waves a pen at you and flashes a light and then you forget everything and all of a sudden have amnesia and don't know what's going on. This is an extremely bad look and poor attempt. Now, Billy Joe Saunders is tethered to MTK Global, which, if you watch, they have a docuseries called Panorama, and they're under immense heat and pressure. The co-founder of MTK Global, Daniel Kinahan, is like self-exiled in Dubai, and a lot of members of MTK Global or the Tyson Fury and Billy Joe Saunders faction can't even travel to America because it's not permitted. Like, they're considered, like Daniel Kinahan is considered and on the FBI most wanted list and considered a narco terrorist. Now all of a sudden you have multiple channels that are all independent from each other. The videos, the Mark Tibbs interviews was on Behind the Gloves, Seconds Out, IFL. And even though these are 3 independent channels, they're all independent channels that have frequently had UK fighters appear. So you can surmise that there's a close relationship to the UK. 3 independent channels have these Billy Joe Saunders trainer Mark Tibbs interviews removed. You know, if this isn't propaganda, I don't know what it is. Now, let me add this to the equation. After Tibbs' interview from multiple channels have now been wiped and removed and suddenly disappeared, ironically enough, there's another MTK fighter in Tyson Fury where something very similar happened. Tyson Fury, a lot of people were suspicious of his gloves. I made the Glovegate 2 video and we got it popping and people started looking into it. All of a sudden, the photographer's photo gallery, which showed the awkward angles where the gloves look very skint and the gloves look clearly tampered. All of a sudden, the photo gallery from that particular Las Vegas photographer, all of a sudden it was access denied and the link no longer worked. It was broken. You could click on it, but you couldn't access any of those folders. You couldn't access any of those photos. You see what I'm saying? So another situation which looks extremely close to a cover-up, where they don't want you to see certain information. They don't want this to be the perception, and they want to control the narrative. So as a result, they remove stuff. But you can't remove things from people's memory. That's the only downside. You can remove it so future people may not be able to see it, but the people of boxing, they said Canelo Saunders was a decently big fight. People had already seen it. So this is an extremely bad look for Billy Joe Saunders. It doesn't make him look, you see a lot of propaganda coming out now. Reports saying, hey, it's absolutely ridiculous to say Billy Joe Saunders quit. Now all of a sudden you have a interview with a trainer, Ben Davison, who worked with Tyson Fury, who's also involved in Glovegate 1 and 2. And Ben Davison's new interview, he says basically that Billy Joe Saunders wanted to keep going. So how is it that the Tibbs interview, which depicted something totally different across multiple channels, is now missing in action? And it appears there's been some kind of job where old media has deleted the videos or whatever. And now this new fresh perspective from not the lead trainer. Why? So the lead trainer said Billy Joe, his body language looked bad. I don't want to go into it too far, but I had to pull him because, he said he couldn't see. And boom, boom, boom. And then now a secondary trainer comes out with after all these other videos have been deleted, comes out with a whole different fresh perspective. And he says that Billy Joe Saunders is a warrior and he wanted to continue and he was begging to continue. He shook his head no, but he didn't mean it like that and all other stuff. Wow, this is a bad look. It looks like the jig is up. This is even more. If you have to go this far to try to hide the truth, then my initial thoughts about Billy Joe Saunders quitting is even more so. And it's sad, and like I said, you have to be cautious of where you get your media, where you get your information from with this boxing game, because we know there are a lot of corruptions, cover-ups, and various things like this. But this is a bad look. This makes me believe Billy Joe Saunders quit even more. The fact that you have to suppress the message and try to, the lead trainer, not a secondary trainer, not a cut man or whatever, the lead trainer told you the body language wasn't there. He had to remove the fight, right? He had to remove Billy Joe Saunders from continuing. And another thing is Billy Joe Saunders, again, he talked too much. He said too much. We've seen other fighters fight through heinous injuries. Chris Algieri had a bad, nasty eye, and it happened in like round 1 or 2. Tim Bradley fought a power puncher, Ruslan Provodnikov, just like Chris Algieri. Bradley was dropped and hurt, severely hurt, and he fought the whole fight with a concussion. It happened again early. Billy Joe Saunders talked all that and didn't even want to go out for another round. David Haye, like I said, Wilder fought with a torn bicep, fractured hand, still knocked out Areola, who just recently dropped Andy Ruiz. This is a bad look, and you tell me that I'm biased out of all people, but you have people who are going through these great lengths to try to hide and suppress the message. The interview was already conducted. People seen it. So the fact that you try to back off the block and backtrack and remove it and pretend the existence wasn't there, it's just like what you see in a movie. Like just look at the Pelican Brief or any type of movie like that where they try to cover it up and try to hide all the evidence, and the one person got the tape of the murder, and then they have to try to find him and get rid of the person to silence the message. I mean, this just looks crazy at this point. And it looks crazy that it's happening right before you, blatantly. Like I said, it'd be one thing if one channel decided to remove a video. You'd be like, that's weird. But how do multiple independent channels who all closely work with the UK and UK fighters and also MTK fighters, they all have the same or similar thoughts that I just let you listen to, and ironically, they all come up missing after? Like, just think about that from a perspective of I'm a YouTube creator. I do this full time. Think about it from a perspective of this. Your goal is to make money on the platform, get your message seen. Those videos were doing good viewership. So why would a YouTuber, unless they've been paid off for something or they're doing a favor for a favor or whatever, why would a YouTuber who gets paid off of viewership have a video that is getting views and garnering attention and views because it was a Canelo fight and the trainer was talking about how the fighter quit, right? And why would you have something like a juicy story or a perspective, a firsthand account of what happened that's getting positive viewership, and then all of a sudden, what would make a YouTube creator delete the video, so all of a sudden that comes to a halt, and your monetization, your video doesn't grow. You've hit it, deleted it, or whatever, so you're no longer getting paid on it, right? What kind of sense does that make for a YouTube creator? Let me know in the comment section. We working. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.